relationship with the right referral partner could be a game changer for any B2B company. So what if you could reverse engineer these relationships at a moment's notice? Start a podcast, invite potential referral partners to be guests on your show, and grow your referral network faster than ever. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We are here today with Bettina Hein. She's the founder and CEO at Pixability. Bettina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, James. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to chat with you today, Bettina. We're going to be talking about video marketing today. We're going to be talking about how to tell your story across multiple platforms. This is something that you guys have done an exceptional job of at Pixability, and I'm really pumped to dive into that with you. But before we do, I just want to give our listeners a little bit of context as to why you're the person to be talking to about this. Can you tell us a little bit about Pixability and what you guys are up to up there?
Sure. Well, it's our mission to really power the changing video economy. And what we do is we precisely connect marketers with the right consumers. And we use data to do that. So what we really are is the trusted video marketing and advertising technology partner for some of the world's leading brands and their agencies, actually hundreds of them. We interact a lot with people at medium-sized to large agencies and with brands. And we do that mostly on the B2C side. So let's say we work with L'Oreal, we work with Avon, we work with Puma, we work with Reebok, we work with IBM. So there are a lot of very big brands that we work with, even though we are now a 90-person company. And we do that in 5 locations globally. So we're headquartered in Boston, and we have locations in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and London.
Love it. I love it. So Bettina, a lot of your clients are B2C. You guys are obviously B2B, selling to those brands, selling to different agencies that leverage the work that you guys do. I want to talk about in a B2B context, how should B2B brands be thinking about telling their story, across these multiple platforms? Can you speak to kind of some of the nuances, the difference of telling your story, on Facebook versus YouTube? How do you guys think about that as you're marketing Pixability?
Yeah, sure. So as you say, we do video marketing, right? So we help large brands with that. And where we're specialists is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Spotify. We're adding Amazon, adding Hulu. And what we are marketers, right? Yeah. So we have to, our customers expect from us, very glossy advertising, very sophisticated. And so I've learned a lot over the last years. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've learned a lot from our big brand customers. What they really care about is their brand. Obviously, they care about what they stand for, and they tell stories in a really compelling way. So since we market B2B, I learn a lot from that, and our team learns a lot from that. And one of the things that we have to do is transfer the B2C mechanisms to B2B advertising. And so we really start with showing off what we do best, which is using data. Okay. Right? So we use our own data to create compelling content marketing. Yeah. We analyze billions of data points about the performance of video advertising across all these social platforms. And then we produce studies. And they are not just on our website, not just do we push them out through all the social media platforms, we create videos about it. We create leave behinds that are printed. We print them because we can't afford, as a small company, the lavish gifts that sometimes other vendors gift their customers. But what we gift them essentially is our knowledge. And so giving that away freely, where others often make you pay for that in this industry, we don't do that. We're very generous with our knowledge. And we have found that even our competitors use our studies to then remarket them.
Yeah, I love that.
We're not always credited for that, but so it's very multi-pronged, right? We use those studies, we really leverage them into press conversations, briefings for analysts, industry analysts, financial analysts, and we just use all of that. And we have a name for it, an internal name called Project Gutenberg, where we essentially use that data, and then sort of our really powerful insights team at Pixability to spread that message in the market, and in a way that helps the people, helps a journalist, helps a brand. So from that helpfulness, we start, and then the question is, how do we disseminate it through all these vehicles, right? And then once we've done that, we go into sales mode. Right. So then we have to capture people's email addresses. We have to really reach out to them. And in the advertising industry, a lot of that is still done through field sales. Right. It's a large enterprise sale. If you look at it from the vocabulary standpoint, what we do is, our customers spend millions and millions, sometimes billions of dollars in advertising. So lots of people are lobbying them for a piece of the pie. And so the only way that we can win is by using that data and by showing our expertise on these platforms. And so what we do is we go around, let's say there's a big industry event, we'll geofence it.
Okay.
And the attendees will see us if they go on Facebook or Snapchat, because that's what we do. And we can't spend the $250,000 sponsorship at that conference, but we make sure that we're seen. So we keep doing that, and that leads to conversations. And then in the end, that leads us to have a very premium perception in the market.
Got it. So I want to dive into that a bit more, because it's super interesting to me. So would the context be you guys going to, an event like Dreamforce or an industry conference? And so when you say you geofence kind of around that area, does that mean like you've got a video asset that you are then targeting, you're doing targeted advertising to just people that are within that geofence, or does that mean something else?
Yes. So what we do is, let's say it's a conference center in San Francisco, right? Dreamforce. We just use that zip code plus we know essentially who we're targeting. So the people that are there and then do their normal thing, like, depending on how old they are, they'll go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn, and and they'll see, wow, Pixability. Like, what do these guys do? And then we have a video that shows them that. And, we do that event after event after event.
Got it. And so when you're targeting with a zip code, Bettina, I've always been confused by this. Is the zip code basically where that person is currently, or is it kind of the home base that they establish? So on, my Facebook account, I probably have, the town that I live in listed on my Facebook profile somewhere, which is associated with a zip code. But if I'm, I live, in a suburb of Orlando, but when I'm in San Francisco, would your ad based on the San Francisco zip code would be getting the content in front of me in San Francisco, or only people that are based in San Francisco?
You can do both, right?
Okay.
But what we do is around that event.
Got it. So as you're talking to your clients just about the nuances of these different platforms, what's the difference, or what should be the difference in video that gets published to YouTube versus video that gets published to Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat? What, like, can you go into depth a little bit on the nuances of each of those platforms?
Of course, happy to do that. We go with almost the same message out, right? Because we're targeting people in their work lives, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
brands obviously do that very differently. So what we're trying to do is get them when they are at a work event and they're kind of relaxed because they're checking social media, but they're like, whoa, what's this? Wow, it really pertains to what I just had a conversation about. And so we're trying to get sort of more share of their attention. That's what we do. For the brands, we help them tailor. We don't create videos, but we help them tailor the message to whatever platform they're on. And that's sometimes hard for a large brand because despite their big resources, they have very ingrained ways of doing things. If you need something really visually compelling for Instagram, you need something that's newsworthy for Twitter.
Mm.
You need something that is more conversational on Facebook.
Mm.
You need something that is for B2B, educational on YouTube. For B2C, it has to tell, both of those have to tell really great stories. Snapchat, it has to be sort of, I would call it like, the trashy magazines kind of thing, right? If you think about People Magazine, Us Weekly, it just has to be the post-millennials version of that, right? So you have to do that. And people in our industry check these platforms because it's their job to do that. And the younger they are, the more they check it. So we're influencing the younger decision makers on the, let's say, younger platforms. Facebook and LinkedIn are sort of a little bit more for the older demographics. So if we're looking to influence a senior person, we go on LinkedIn and Facebook. The more junior people are going to be on the other platforms. And YouTube is essentially for all but it's more of I have some time to watch something, right? I'm researching something. If you're just have 10 minutes to kill between two conference things that you're watching, video is actually not effective. So we actually use all of those, even though we're a video marketing company, we use all of those vehicles. But I do think one thing we haven't done yet is podcasts.
That is definitely something that we would love to see you guys doing. One question that I have for you, Bettina, just a few days ago, at the time that we're recording this, a few days ago was the Super Bowl. You see these brands, spending a gajillion dollars on Super Bowl ads. A lot of them were compelling. I loved what Tide did for the Super Bowl. But when you're working with brands like that, and obviously for the person listening to this being a B2B company, if you saw a few B2B companies doing things around the Super Bowl, where do you see brands seeing the most success in taking a kind of a large kind of TV campaign like that, but then supplementing it with like ancillary activity on social, kind of pointing back to that campaign? I saw Verizon do it really well with their first responder campaign, and that they have dedicated landing page to talking about sharing stories. Back to your point earlier, sharing stories of these first responders and the lives that they've saved and the impact that they've made, with kind of the hook being, they make the call, I think was what the tagline was. They make the call, we make that call happen. And that was, to me, just really a really powerful use case. And then I started looking at their social activity around that, and they had great visual, video stories that they were telling to complement that big campaign. Have you seen other examples of that folks listening to this could take a look at to just get an idea of, man, how do you take a big splash like the Super Bowl or something like, your your booth at Salesforce or at Dreamforce, a big event, and then splice it into kind of micro activity on social via video?
Yeah. So what I think is really useful, and let me just explain a little bit of the mechanics of the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So there's big spend, and what they call that is a tent pole event.
Okay.
It's a tent pole event, and around it, so if you think of a tent, there's sort of in a circus tent, there's in the middle, right? There's this event. There are lots of things leading up to that and afterwards. So what you do with the Super Bowl is you have this main asset, if you call it that, a video, right? That tells a certain story. And so you pre-game it and then you post-game it. So the pre-gaming is, in our industry, buying lots of views on YouTube and lots of them. So you can trend, so you can build anticipation about the story that you're going to tell. So that when the Super Bowl ad airs, people are, not everybody obviously, but a lot of people are like, oh my God, I've seen this before. This is so cool. It's in the Super Bowl, right? And I knew about it way before everybody else did. So I can talk about it a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And, I can tell the person that just went to the bathroom in the break that what it's about, right? And so then, let's say during the halftime show, like, oh my God, I just saw this, and it was really a powerful message. So what you have to do with your main message is get people to act, right? That call to action. And for a brand, the call to action here with Verizon is, we're good people, right? Purpose-driven advertising is the newest trend out there. So we're good people, and look at what we've been able to do, because millennials and post-millennials are very motivated by seeing a purpose behind what the brands that they talk about, that they like, do, right? So I'll give a personal example. Lyft has a very different image in the market than Uber.
Yeah.
Right. Uber is these cocky programmers. They have problems respecting others, whether they're women or they're drivers or anything else. Lyft is known for being sort of just the nicer people. The drivers are taken better care of. They treat their employees better. So some people really care about that. Some people just care about the price or the convenience or something. But, I consider myself a feminist. And if I can afford it, sometimes Lyft is a little bit more expensive. I'll compare the prices. But if it's not a big, big difference, like let's say $10 difference for the trip, right? Then I will use Lyft. I will choose, if in doubt, use Lyft.
They align with your values.
Yeah, and this is what Verizon is doing, right? They're saying, if in doubt, use Verizon, not AT&T. So then after the Super Bowl, they have to reinforce that message. They have to keep going. And this is what B2B marketers often don't see. They give one consistent message the whole time, and they do always on advertising, and that's great. But that is only so effective because it's somewhat robotic, right? And it doesn't take into account like this, that humans react a lot to storytelling, that they react to visuals, that they react to what's going on in their community, and that they're people. They are people. They are not just the buyer of video advertising at an agency, or they're not just the purchaser of a CRM software, right? They are people. And if you think about that, you can actually do some really smart things. You can treat things as a campaign, not always on, but as a campaign, and say, okay, now we're telling this story. We have a new product, and this product matters because of X. And we have to tell that story, tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them.
Yep. Totally. Bettina, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you sharing this insight with us. If there's somebody out there listening, they want to stay connected with you, or they want to learn more about Pixability, what's the best way for them to go about doing both of those things?
Well, going to our website, pixability.com, emailing me directly, Hein@pixability.com, HEIN And also text me. We have all of these available, 617-710-5772. So we're generous with our knowledge, and that's how we win customers. And obviously all the materials that we publish are out there for everybody to look at, case studies and all of that. And I'm sure that they can also contact you to make that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you have no luck finding Bettina online, which I don't think you're going to have any problem doing, feel free to reach out to me as well, james@sweetfishmedia.com. Make sure to check out Pixability, pixability.com. Bettina, again, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic, and I really appreciate it.
Very welcome. Thank you again for having me, James.
There are lots of ways to build a community, and we've chosen to build the B2B growth community through this podcast. But because of the way podcasts work, it's really hard to engage with our listeners. And without engagement, it's tough to build a great community. So here's what we've decided to do. We're organizing small dinners across the country with our listeners and guests. No sales pitches, no agenda, just great conversations with like-minded people. We'll talk business, we'll talk family, we'll talk goals and dreams. We'll build friendships. So if you'd like to be a part of a B2B growth dinner in a city near you, go to b2bgrowthdinners.com. That's b2bgrowthdinners.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.